All right. All right. I just let our people know in our Discord, same on Twitter. Let's just give it a few more minutes and then we can start, yeah?
Cool. My people in the bearish server, I already got the event link live there.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Yep, same here. Nice. By the way, before we start, I saw that you told me that you were finishing up your breakfast. Like, what did you have for breakfast today?
Yeah, so I usually when I first wake up, I make coffee and some oatmeal.
Yep.
Like protein heavy oatmeal with a protein scoop in there.
Yep.
So I get loaded up there. Gives me the fuel to get my morning deep work in, and then I would go into the gym in the afternoon. So I just got back from the gym. Usually I'd cook something up, a little bit of like eggs or something, but I got a sandwich to go because I was in a rush. So, but an Italian sandwich is what I had.
Okay. Do you have Italian background by any chance?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just love Italian food, like we all do, I suppose.
I just like protein, man. I just put all the salamis and the pepperonis and the
shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, look at that. So I'm assuming you hit the gym quite often, yeah?
I mean, not as much as I want to, but
okay.
Trying to get into a steady flow.
Would you say you stopped hitting the gym more often when you kind of became the founder of Bearish and you being hella busier and shit?
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. I mean, I always get back into a good gym flow when I start to feel overwhelmed with work. I'm like, all right, I gotta slow down. That's my signal to, okay, I gotta slow down, get in the moment.
Good.
Step away from the screen for a little bit.
Dude, I think it's necessary as well. Like that, it's something that I've been doing as well since I kind of move around quite often. It really kind of depends because I used to be based in Melbourne for quite a while, and now I'm kind of like in between Mexico City because that's my background. I was born in Mexico, but I lived in Melbourne for almost 10 years, and now I'm kind of like based between Mexico City and Abu Dhabi, and in between I get to travel a lot, multiple NFT events and stuff, and then I pretty much like to stay a little bit longer wherever I go. Just kind of like workation, but in reality it's more work than getting like sightseeing and stuff. But yes, ever since I came back to Abu Dhabi, I was like, dude, I need to go back to the gym because dude, it's been a lot. Like, yeah. So I feel you. But okay, yeah,
it's important.
Yeah, 100%. 100. We can talk about that later today. But other than that, I think we can just give it a go. So guys, welcome again to another epic and banger live stream. Today we have a legendary guy, Astoli. I feel like now I don't really need to introduce you. Like I feel like people are quite familiar with you and Bearish. But other than that, guys, I appreciate you joining us today. I know that you could have been somewhere else, but you chose to be with us, with myself, with Cole, and well, with Tolly today. So yeah, Tolly, thanks for dropping by. Long overdue. You invited me to one of your spaces last week. It
Mhm.
went pretty well, so thank you for that. And today, we have the opportunity to have you in one of our live streams. Whilst we have, you're gonna get to see how this guy works live, like creating
Oh,
magic out of
yeah.
nowhere. So look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Working on? What are you working on there, bro?
Let's see.
That looks
I
that
don't know.
looks
Look, it's funny though. Like I just kind of like give him all the creative freedom because I'm not as creative as he is. So he'll just come up with something real quick, and then you'll see. You'll see. It's really cool. This is something that we've been doing for quite a while. Perhaps for your community that maybe are not familiar with our streams, or people who are watching this at the moment, usually what we did back then, we started our live streams in late 2023, if I remember correctly. But we used to do them in our Discord. It was kind of like pretty close, kind of like getting to know our community. um, so usually we had like maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 people joining our stream. They were getting plushy points that way, but also it was the perfect opportunity for us to get to know kind of like our core community, and them getting to know me, and also getting to know Cole, which is one of our main 3D artists. And suddenly one of our whales, actually, he was like, dude, guys, what you guys are doing, it's pretty epic. I think you should be bringing this to Twitter, maybe YouTube as well. This was before Abstract, right? And we were like, dude, okay, first of all, we don't even know how to start a stream on X. We need to figure that out first. But yeah, I agree. Let's bring those vibes back to X, so more people get to know us and get to see, how fucking good Cole is. And then we pretty much brought the streams to X. We started doing the same, like bringing our community, but obviously being on X, and some people didn't really want to dox themselves, even if, like, for instance, today Cole is not actually. People know how he looks like, anyways. He's not, turning on his camera because he lacks a little bit. Um, and then we thought, look, this could be a really good thing if we start bringing people that we know from our network, whether that be founders, builders, KOLs, core team members, and just have a casual convo. Was this guy creates custom artwork related to the plushies, and this was our idea of plushie proliferation. Um, so yeah, we've been doing pretty well. It's just one of those things that I honestly can't wait every single week, just because it's a lot of fun to pretty much hanging out with my friends. So I just
I
love
love
that. So yeah, that's pretty much, guys. If you weren't familiar with this concept, I would say. So this is it. This is what we do, and we're just very, very happy to have you here with us today, mate.
I you know, I mean, since we started talking on the space that we did last week,
Yep.
pretty much, immediately, kind of understood, oh, we are so aligned, it's not even funny. Like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
you guys have this, this builder mentality, this maker mentality, right? You just, we're having a live stream, we're talking about stuff. At the same time, there's stuff being built in the background here by Cole. And that's cool. That's awesome. We've done a couple of these ourselves where, it's just kind of like a conversation, and,
Mm.
we're coding in the background, vibe coding with Cursor or something like that, building an app.
Oh wow,
So,
nice.
but that kind of like that ethos, absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely love it, man. So this is
I
cool.
think it's just one of those things that, like, when we put ourselves, let's say, the community cap, right? Because we were community members before we became, builders, founders, core team members of everything that we're building, right? It's just something pretty epic. It makes me feel close to the people that are building the stuff that I love, that I have that emotional attachment, and it's just vibing, right? Like, especially in this market that it's pretty shit. Um, it's just a perfect excuse to just wind out for a bit, whether that be 60, 90 minutes, and yeah, just pretty much hang out. Feeling bearish AF. uh, but yeah, totally. I want to start with you by just kind of like introduce yourself. Perhaps some of our community doesn't really know who you are, what's been your journey whether if you want to start with what you used to do back in Web 2, how you entered Web 3, how long you've been in the space. Because it didn't feel like when you launched Bearish, right? Like it felt that there was already an existing community supporting you. So maybe you want to talk about that as well.
Sure.
So yeah, mate, the floor is yours.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, appreciate you having me on. I was chatting with Carlito and Leon earlier today too, so we were talking a little bit about the history of Bearish and kind of where it's at now. So it's yeah. So before Web3, so I'm a serial entrepreneur, right? I found out early on that I have trouble working for somebody else. And I think that was mostly because just most people don't know how to create a good work environment, right? Just poor management, whatever, that kind of thing. And I just I have the kind of personality where I need to be properly stimulated, and have a good growth, like a high ceiling for growth and that kind of thing. And so, kind of realized early on that I probably should work for myself. Fast forward, tons of failures, couple of wins. I did a bunch of e-commerce stuff for a while in my late 20s. I had a media marketing agency, and eventually plugged into Web3, and I started to poke around and bought some coins, like some legit coins. I don't know, probably Bitcoin. Okay. This is late 2020, early 2021.
Okay.
And then started to go down the ladder of different kind of market cap, right? There's the big boys over here. Then you have the mid caps where it's just protocols or platforms, whatever. And then I started to get into shit coins. And at the time, NFTs weren't really a thing. I don't even think Bored Ape had minted then. Wow. And so eventually got exposed to NFTs and participating in some launches, whatever. I got rugged a couple times, and then I realized, oh shit, I think I can actually do something better. I think I can actually have a lot of fun here and make something cool. And so I launched a project called Bad Bears, which is an Ethereum NFT collection, tail end of the 2021 bull run. And we went all the way through the bear market. And I had started working with another person in the space named Scotty. Scotty coincidentally also had a bear-themed project called Brawler Bears, right? So I had Bad Bears, Scotty had Brawler Bears. But Scotty and I started working together on this company called Drip, which is basically kind of like a virtual economy infrastructure. It's basically if you boil it down, it's it's a way to create an economy for your online community. You can think a Discord economy bot on steroids. And so anyways, so fast forward a year from that, and we kind of realized, hey, we work well together, let's see what we can do with our communities. And so we worked on merging Bad Bears and Brawler Bears into one entity. And we came up with the name Bearish, okay? Not because we're actually bearish, but because we're bears. And it just felt fun to be a part of, to inject ourselves into a certain narrative there. And so we launched on Abstract. We chose Abstract because of, it is the consumer chain, right? And we're all about consumers, right? All the stuff that we build, the products that I've built in the past, the Scotty's built, big focus on the end user there. And so we can create experiences, right? So we create good experiences, whether it's apps or games, always have. And so to go on a chain that, genuinely feels like it's going to be the consumer chain made sense to us, right? Lucas plugged in, Pudgy Penguins. They understand that world, the consumer world. And so we figure, hey, let's see what we can do. Let's have some fun, right? We got a plan. We have a roadmap. We're not telling anybody what the roadmap is. The expectation that we're setting is it's going to be a blast. The community is going to be fun, and there's going to be surprises, along the way. Good surprises along the way. So it's been, I don't know, what's it been? February, March, 2.5 months since our launch of Bearish, and I think we're doing pretty well.
I agree. I think you guys are doing pretty well. Like kudos to you guys. Like honestly, it's been only a couple of months, and I can tell like from kind of like from an outside perspective, right? Like seeing you guys being one of the top NFTs on Abstract, regardless of the typical stuff that people mention. Like there's not a lot of on-chain activity, there's not a lot of this and that and blah blah blah, but you guys have been quite consistent, right? Like we've seen, like I said, like from an outside perspective, we've seen the growth of the bearish community. And even if people don't really like to talk about much about floor price, it is kind of important because it really brings that sentiment and that sort of seal of approval that your community feels like they're in the right place, and everything that you've been dropping without letting them know what's going to be, you can understand what they want. You're kind of like in this consumer crypto narrative mindset that you're like, this is what I want to bring you and Scotty and your team. And then suddenly you have these guys like, holy shit, I feel like, on the promise and kind of on the and over deliver, right?
Right.
So yeah, kudos to you guys. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that we're getting into this conversation a little bit because, and first of all, like there's no part of me that thinks that we've made it. Hell no. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's a brand new chain. I mean, like I don't even look at the floor price. I have to be told by the community, or I don't know, Carlo tells me or something. I don't know, he shares like a recent sale or something like that, whatever. I don't look at that. That like, I mean, there's no part of me like that feels like we've made it. But anyways, I just want to do a little side comment here. We're talking about, kind of consumer experiences, right? Thinking about the experience is like, I think honestly, one of the most important things you can do. Case in point, what you guys are doing here, on this stream, just like to break this fourth wall here. It's like, we know that people have kind of squirrel brains a little bit, right? And so people generally focus on more than one thing at a time. And so, to have a conversation like this, but also have something else going on in the background is like, that's brilliant, right? That's like akin to those TikTok videos where somebody's talking about something serious
Shit.
on the screen, and the other is somebody playing a game or Minecraft or something like that, right? So you understand this. Like I know you understand this because we had the space, we had a one-on-one chat shortly after. And so, so excited to see what you guys are going to be cooking up too. You gave me a little bit of alpha, kind of what's going on there. But it's I love Abstract because it feels like everybody's so collaborative and everybody's actually really fucking smart. Everybody's really fucking, reality. Like
you couldn't have said it better. Like honestly,
like you don't want to be on
so fucking smart.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't want to be on a team where everybody's fucking smart and competitive. That's like that's not that. Like that might be fun for some people, but like, come on, like this world is so small. Like crypto, Web3, and NFTs is so small. Fucking collaborate, integrate.
I know.
Pollinate, do all the eights.
Yeah, it's like we tend to say like with our team, like I don't know if you saw that we announced like the expanded team with people that will be joining us that have been doing stuff for us for the past month or so, but now that we've officially kind of like announced that, right? Foxy, shout out to Foxy. He was just saying like, dude, honestly, like we're in a niche of a fucking niche, and I like to repeat that as well. And when you mention like, dude, on Abstract, it feels that yes, we're kind of competing for mindshare because that's just kind of like the nature of the game. But also, it feels like we are so open to the idea of collaborate with each other and support each other. And I haven't seen that in a very long time. Like I haven't seen that in other chains. And I feel like us who chose to build on Abstract for X, Y, or Z reason, like we knew that we wanted to be here. I think I don't know if you feel the same way, but I didn't think that it was gonna feel this quote unquote easy to kind of hang out with people who are building on Abstract and finding ways to collaborate and support each other and kind of like elevate the chain but also elevate ourselves as companies. And it's just fucking epic. I just love it. Like this is the testament of one of those things. Like you invited me to your spaces, then we jump on a one-on-one call, we chatted about a bunch of stuff, and now we're having this stream, and now we kind of like brainstorming how we can integrate our communities, how we can integrate our IPs together. Like it's just pretty cool to see, right? Like it kind of feels like building in public so the community can see that there's something going on, and it just feels right.
Yeah. Can I pause you for a sec, Bogan?
Yeah.
For some reason, my camera turned off, and I can't press the button to turn it back on. I'm just going to refresh this, okay? I'm going to refresh this. I'll be right back. One sec.
Yep. No worries. All good. In the meantime, Cole, tell me a little bit about your creative process, though, because that looks so good.
Dude, every time, like, I don't really know. I just kind of just click buttons. You know,
just keep clicking.
Before the stream, I found this sky, and I was like, "That looks cool." So
that's awesome.
That's about it.
Yeah. So Bogan, I was going to add on to what you were saying here. So, can you hear me? You can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
We can hear you.
So, yeah, Cole, this looks super cool, man. That looks super cool. But I wanted to add on to what you were saying, Bogan. Right. So, like with abstract, why it's cool? Yeah, it's this collaborative thing. It's not a PvP. It's like it's not a player versus player thing. It's a player with player. Like we're playing together, right? It's almost kind of like a real, like sort of kind of like a real metaverse, right? Everybody's got their brands, right? And they have the stuff that they're building, and that's awesome. They have their communities, great. You know, you have a ton of these here. And but we're all talking about how to collaborate, you know, how to integrate, you know, cross-pollinate, like how do we work together, right? And that is like, if there's like any example of a real metaverse, that's what it is. You have these isolated experiences, communities, brands, businesses, games, apps, whatever, and the IP is being shared between all of them. That's awesome, right? There's nothing more that I want than having Bearish in every single game that exists on Abstract. Part of every single app, right? Like we're in Gacha. We just announced Multiplier. You and I talked about a little bit of something, right? There's a lot of
we can talk about the multiplier thing because that was just recently announced. But go for it.
Yeah. But that's the idea is like that, like a community of communities. Because on Ethereum, it very much felt like, especially like tail end of the bull and through the bear market, there's something called community competition, where people were just very protective of their community, and they were afraid to let their people go out and explore and like create relationships and stuff. Like it was pretty common, and that's not good, right? Like you don't want that. The reality is like cross-pollination is probably one of the best things you can do for your community, because if you don't, 100%. What happens naturally with a community that is closed off is it becomes stale, and eventually becomes toxic. It's like a pond of water, right? Like if the water is just sitting there, like it's not getting a fresh inflow of water, in and out, it literally becomes stale and eventually becomes toxic, right? And so the same thing happens with communities, right? So you have to keep it flowing, like keep people coming in, let people like explore. And so, deep down, like that's a core part of our DNA. I was telling you the story about bad bears and brawler bears, merging into bears. In our DNA is this idea of cross community, right? And so, so definitely Abstract has this ethos, and definitely aligned with us and with you, and a bunch of other projects as well.
When you mentioned, like, for instance, because there were two different projects, right? Obviously, they had the bear with you and with Scotty. When you announced that with your community, because both of them were on ETH, right? And we're talking about how sometimes it becomes quite toxic when the communities are so back biased. We can talk it that way. And they're just like, I don't want to be part of other community. And if I'm going to join another community, it was pretty common and pretty obvious that they just wanted to flip that project and then just move on, perhaps rotate some of those gains and buy more of their core community, core NFT. When you announce this sort of stuff, whether that be you, Tolly, or whether that was Scotty back then, that, hey, we're planning to do something together. You've seen us work together with Drip, the stuff that we can bring, but now we're doing something with IP. We're doing something with a new IP that we are creating. How did you communicate that with them, and how did they take it?
So actually, our first little our first teaser, right? So Scotty and I had been planning this for months and months. And our first teaser was, I think it was December 23rd, 2024. It's actually still pinned to the top of my profile. It's a picture of like my old bear, like my bad bear, Scotty's brawler bear, like in a cave looking out into the world. In the cave, you see there's graffiti of the old Bad Bears logo, the old Brawler Bears logo. So we're leaving the cave, and there's a whole new world to explore. And there's a bush in the middle of the scene, and it's a burning bush, and it's got the abstract logo on there, I think, right? And some berries and stuff, and just an expanse, a beautiful expanse of like a whole new world, right? And so that was the first little teaser that we put out there. People didn't know what the hell we were going to do. Like nobody knew that we were going to be merging communities. Nobody had any idea that we were going to be launching a brand new collection with brand new everything. And so the rollout of that was really interesting, right? Like one thing we did that was, I think pretty brilliant. And actually we're going to be opening this up to other people or to other communities to be able to do themselves, but Bearish is going to do it first. And we'd love to do it with Plooshies. We created this way for Discord servers to communicate to each other while people can stay in their own server, right? So this app, and it was super cool, right? Like it passes over PFPs, messages, edits, custom emojis, GIFs, and stickers. So it feels very natural. Like it feels like you're in a room with the other community, right? So we call this rooms, these rooms. And so we're going to be opening up these rooms with other communities. We're definitely going to. We're talking to, well, I can't say because that's going to give some stuff away. But we're talking to,
guys, we're so close to getting some alpha, but we're going to keep trying.
I hate the stuff, but there's just some stuff that we have to kind of like iron out before we can announce. But yeah, we're going to be opening this up, for Bearish first with other communities, and then we're going to let other communities create these rooms themselves. So anyways, to answer your question about the rollout of this, people didn't know what to expect. We started following this new principle, this new ethos of like, don't set, don't reveal your roadmap. Have a roadmap. Don't reveal the roadmap. Because as soon as people like know what you're going to be doing, you've now flipped speculation into expectation, and that's just not as fun anymore. That's not fun for everybody, for everybody, right? So, anyways, so we merged these. Or we introduced these two communities together with the system that we built, and then we created a new Discord server, ported everybody over there, and then we started to attract new people in, right? And so now I think it's probably 80% of our community is just new members, new holders, right? We still have our core base of legacy holders, and they're happy, they're very happy, they're very like they see what we've done. Kind of with this migration and everything. So, it's been a blast, and there's a lot more to come there.
Yeah, dude. When you, I was just kind of like remembering when you were explaining. So we had the two bears kind of like in a cave and looking at the outside world because there's something more there and there's abstract, right? When you were explaining that, it kind of reminded me of I don't know if you're familiar with the allegory of the cave by Plato.
Right.
Which is pretty much, he's explaining that obviously a long time ago, that we feel like prisoners, that we don't really see anything other than our shadows. And then suddenly there's an outside world where there's more to be seen. And for you guys, it's, this new community of communities being led by the Apache Penguins and the abstract team. And then you see something more. And for me, that's just pretty unique because you guys had these two communities that felt very strong, that were with you guys being battle tested during the bear market, and they saw an opportunity to be like, hey, we can be more. Let's be more. Let's attract more people as well. And obviously you guys being supported by those core community members, like you call them legacy holders, I'm pretty sure that you've seen them helping the new members kind of like understand who you guys are, the stuff that you've been doing, like letting them know that this is the place to be. So for me, that's pretty epic. And I feel like shout out to your community, shout out to communities in general, that obviously we wouldn't be here without them. Like I can tell you that we wouldn't be in the position where we are at the moment with the Plooshies and the new phase that we're entering with the Plooshies without the community.
For sure.
So yeah, tell me a little bit more about how did you come up with this concept of the rooms, like bringing this app, like because you guys, when I see you guys as builders, you like programming, finding new ways to fix problems that you see in the industry. Um, when you encounter this issue, like, hey, I see that maybe a lot of people don't want to join another server. Let's come up with something that we can do to attract and bring them together, like cross-pollinate communities. Because the way that I see that, the way that you explained it, and the way that you explained it to me on during that one-on-one call, it feels like it's just perfect, right? Like if people, perhaps some people are like, I don't want to use Discord anymore, but I'm going to be using Telegram or X. But the people who are still using Discord, and they're suddenly, if we see our Discords, right? I have so many servers that I don't really pay attention to. The stuff that I really want to pay attention to is community sentiment. I want to see what they're up to, what are they doing, how they communicate with new members. With this, the app that you're bringing, the bot that you will be bringing, the rooms. Um, when or how did you and Scotty were like, let's bring this? I feel like we're onto something here.
Yeah. So we we saw a problem that existed out there, which is okay. And this is also something that like you only really can identify these problems if you're in it. If you have the problem yourself, or the challenge, whatever you want to call it. And like a challenge that we foresaw before merging these communities was, hey, you got two different cultures here. They don't really know each other, right? Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of overlap, some holders across like the hold both projects, whatever. But the reality is like you can't just put two strangers in a room that don't really know each other and ask them to live together. Kind of have to have like a bit of an interview process,
I mean, it happened a lot during COVID, but that was something entirely different.
Yeah, you want to put these two people in a bar, give them a drink, and I don't have them get to know each other. That's natural. It's unnatural to force them to live together in a house without. Yeah. So, anyways, we kind of foresaw this, and so we built this little app, and it was just for us. It was like the code base like wasn't made for other communities. It was just for us, and we found it worked great, and it was actually a lot of fun. We actually called it Glory Hole. That was our like internal name was Glory Hole. So people had fun with that. But it's not called Glory Hole anymore. It's called Someone. The app is called Someone, and the reason it's called Someone is, I mean, there's a lot of like reason behind choosing like that name for the brand, but like one of the reasons is in Discord, so when you're typing in a channel, right, it says Hogan is typing, right?
Yeah.
And so with this app, with Someone, if you're in a server over here, like in this channel that's being shared, and someone from another server is typing, over here it'll say someone is typing because it's the bot. Like the bot is typed, the app is typing, right? And then posts a webhook, whatever, but it just feels cool, right? And so that was one of the reasons, for it. But also there's some other kind of reasons. If you like split the word someone into two, right? Some is plural, one is singular. And so you're bringing like those together, right? So, but anyways, So
just FYI, I might change the bot's name to Bearish Glory Hole in our server.
Perfect.
Just for the lows. Just kidding.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Change the bot name, change the channel name. You can say Bearish Glory Hole is typing. But so anyways, we identified a problem. Cool. And then after launch, right? So last weekend I actually finished up the app completely myself. Now it's in a place where anybody can use it. But we're not gonna open it up just yet, right? So now it's ready. I actually made a post about it on Sunday night. You can see kind of how it works. But nice. The thing with this is it's like such a niche thing, like such a unique problem. People don't even realize that there's a problem, really. It's more of like there's a big opportunity here. If you open up, like if you let your community communicate with other servers, there's a massive opportunity there. Because again, we go back to this this metaphor of the pond, right? keep water flowing in and out, right? Like keeps it fresh, keeps it fun, keeps it exciting. Like, yes, you'll have some of your holders go over to the other community, how to make some friends, great. And maybe they become a holder over there, awesome. And vice versa, right? People are going to come in, you're going to get fresh blood. And it'll just be fun, right? So like these like little like experiences, to go back to the conversation we started, was like, like you have like you want to create these experiences that are like unique and different. You don't want to be doing the same shit as everybody else is doing. You don't want to keep playing Rumble Roy on a Rumble Royale or just whatever that game is in your server. You don't want to keep playing Gartic, with the Discord bot. That's lame shit. Boring. Okay. Do some new stuff, right? Open up some stuff with another community, right? Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, just make it a fun place to be. People will stay there. People will come back. They'll tell their friends about it. Yeah, people will be happy.
Yeah, I feel like you're right, because I clearly remember those days where Gartic and Rumble was just used on every server just to get a widely spot or whatever. But with these chats, I feel like we've entered a new phase with the communities, because yes, there are different cultures and stuff, but they themselves can be one. They get to know each other. They see what they can do together, whether that be creating custom artwork, or just getting to know each other and creating, because you're enabling them to create new stuff, right? Like that's sort of like the culture that I see with Bearish. Like we're building a bunch of stuff. You guys can build a lot of stuff as well. We'll give you the tools for you to be able to do that. So finding that specific room and be like, hey, the Plooshies community is this way, the Bearish community is this way. If we're gonna be doing like the typical cross community events, like maybe playing poker or whatever, but there might be some other stuff that they want to do together once they get to know each other, uh, it would be pretty epic, right? Like obviously one of the ways that I see them is by integrating the Bearish IP on Plooshy Island, and by them, interacting with the Bearish IP as an AI-driven NPC, and later on getting quests related to Bearish on Plooshy Island. That could be one of the many ways. But there might be other stuff that they themselves can kind of come up with, and having that room without them having to like, hey, I want to be just in this server, which is the Bearish one, or I just want to be in the Plooshy server. But there's something joining them, putting them all together. I think it's brilliant. I really want to see how that's gonna play out once it's out in the wild. How people are gonna react to it, but I feel like it's just so cool, dude. Like honestly, I think it's really cool for people who are still using Discord a lot, right? Because I would say that some people are more leaning towards, I don't want to use Discord anymore. I'm just gonna stick to either Telegram or X group chats. But there's a lot of people that, whether they hate it or love it, they still check Discord quite often. So finding ways to kind of reactivate those vibes in Discord, this could
Right.
be one of those many ways, because it will simplify the fact that I don't need to go to multiple servers. I can just stay in my main one and have these multiple rooms, like you call them, and just kind of like chat and get to know other communities. And
Right.
I feel like it's perfect with Abstract, because it's so easy to do that, right? With the people that are building on Abstract, with the communities on Abstract supporting each other. I see that with my community, right? Like they love the Bearish IP, they love you guys as well, and I'm like, dude, they love other IPs, they love other games that they've been testing out, they've been playing, even if their core community is a Plooshies, but they're like, guys, enjoy what's going on Abstract. Like there's a lot of shit going on, that there's a lot of fun. And one of the things that I like to do is kind of like expose them via these streams to those things that perhaps they didn't even know beforehand. I know that some of my community members, they're like, dude, I'm just gonna buy a bunch of those NFTs and see what's gonna happen with those things. Support them. If you guys support them, I want to support them too. And it just feels so cool, right? But yeah, on that note, related to Plooshy Island and kind of like letting people know this quote unquote alpha, that the Bearish IP will be there on Plooshy Island. Um, just FYI, we've been doing some internal testing. I play the game today with my niece, by the way. She was playing the game with me, doing some internal testing before we actually launch the beta test with our community first, and obviously with the apartment mint, which will be pretty much the game pass for y'all to be playing to be able to play the game.
Mhm.
I wanted to do that internal test because obviously we're giving feedback to the game devs on perhaps some stuff that we can tweak here and there, but I wanted to see the reaction of my niece because that's obviously one of the targets of Pushy Island, right? Like seeing kids playing this game.
Right.
Dude, she was giving me a lot of feedback that I didn't even think about, but she was also like, "This is so cute. I can finally see you as your plushie, kind of. Right? I want to see like, let's go to your house." And then she was like, "How many houses do you own? What can I do here? Like, let's go on some quest. Let's do let's explore the island." I wanted to see that first, and dude, I can't be more than excited to finally release that to to our community and to the people that will be enjoying Plooshy Island. So yeah, dude, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I feel like also because obviously there's gonna be voice chat and the typical chat for people to have fun and get to know each other. That could be another way for people to interact with each other. So yeah, we'll see.
I can't wait.
We're getting very very close. The closer we get to it, I'm like, dude, I can't wait. Like, I'm so,
Yeah.
like it's just those vibes that, oh, dude, we've been working on this for so fucking long, mate. That finally, I can see the finish line. So yeah, but
That's awesome. Are you
totally
guys
tell me, yeah, go for it. Ask
are you
me,
guys
yeah.
for your internal, kind of like the chat experience, the voice experience, I don't know a system you guys are using. Are you guys using the new Discord social SDK? They have this new system you could plug into games, and you don't have to log into Discord, but you can
Okay.
use their chat and voice stuff, right? And it directly integrated with I think pretty much every game development platform there.
No, I'm pretty sure we're using other than the Discord SDK. I wouldn't know it because I'm not the techie guy on that.
Got it.
We have the techie guys, and mostly, he goes by Sidekick Penelope. His name is Jan. He's the CTO. He's the one leading the game dev team that is based in the UK. Yeah, he's the techie guy. They know their stuff. Sometimes when I was joining those, weekly meetings with them, if it gets too technical, I'm like, holy shit, here we go. And then he would just give me the quick rundown and like, explain that to me like if I was 5 years old. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we're using some other SDK, but I've been testing it as well, and I'm like, okay, this works perfectly.
Nice.
Let's see how the people are gonna react to it. Because something that I saw, like for instance, with Onchen Hero, shout out to Scully, by the way, people love to chat with each other, and it was just the website and stuff. And in here, it's literally a whole new world that they can explore. And I can't wait for people to visit people's houses and just hang out and see how people are building and placing furniture there, and just host your friends at your house. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, totally, I wanted to ask you something related to the IP, to the Bearish IP,
Okay.
and the NFTs that I'm looking at. If
Okay.
you were to name one first, like if you can tell us like who's the artist, who was the creative lead of the Bearish IP, or maybe like the trades, where did you take the inspo for some of these trades? Were you taking that lead, or maybe Scotty, or maybe someone else? How did you pretty much created the IP?
Yeah. So our art team is a team. The kind of the grand kind of like the final decision was made by Scotty and I, right?
Okay.
To like the actual art direction, art style, right? We wanted to go with something cute. Bearish is for everyone. That's what we say. Like Bearish is for everyone of all ages, right?
Yeah.
Our current, like our community right now. I obviously it's mostly adults, although we do have a couple youngsters in there, and actually streamers as well, like young streamers. But kind of the state of Bearish right now is we have obviously a Web3 demographic, and so, but like the art itself is we wanted to go with cute because like cute IP is generally the most scalable, right? You've got, something like Bored Ape and like Goblin Town. That's not cute, but it's still successful. It's fine. It works, right? You got a specific audience for that. But then you also have Pudgy Penguins, that has been successful. It is still successful. You could just do a lot more with it, right? Like you can't really create Goblin Town plushies. Yes, I mean, yes, you can, and actually that would be pretty cool. But you're probably not going to buy your child a Goblin Town plushie. It's probably not going to like it. You know what I mean? For us, yeah, for us at Bearish, we want to create a brand. Again, Bearish is for everyone, but we want to create a brand where there's a specific experience that we're trying to create. Specific emotion, and that is when a parent and a child both love this, a brand equally. Kind of like how you have Lego, right? Legos. A father has fun building Legos with his son. That's a special moment that they share, right?
Yes.
And so like that's kind of what we want to create with Bearish, right? Is to have this IP that that an adult loves, like a father or a mother. We provide a lot of value for them there, particularly with our builder sprints. We had our first one 2 weeks ago. We kind of have two pillars here, right? We have this IP, stuff that we're proliferating out there, but then we also have the builder stuff that we build, stuff that the community builds, et cetera. This vibe coding, these sprints that we do. We could talk about that later, but it's amazing the amount of builders that we pulled to create stuff for our last sprint. We had 50 people.
Wow.
And I think the majority of these people, probably 90% or more, are not developers. They're not coders, but they were able to create apps and games, and they had so much fun. And a lot of them are super cool, right? And so we're kind of nailing that like builder bear thing here. And so, us integrating into games and other like digital experiences, that's kind of like one of the next steps. And eventually there's going to be, physical stuff as well to touch, to proliferate this with other, younger audiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you mentioned this builder sprints, right? What exactly does that mean for people who are not familiar with that?
Sure. Yeah. So previously we talked about this app that I created called Someone that creates a cross-server communication channel, solved a problem, creates a lot of opportunity. Great. So I actually built that myself. And I'm not a developer. I can't code a single line of code. But I was able to do that with natural language. There's something called vibe coding, where you can basically literally develop apps and games that are of decent quality just with natural language by typing. You kind of got to know some stuff here and there still, some libraries, whatever. I was able to build that fully myself, top to bottom, like no help.
Damn.
And I'm not a developer. Okay. And so, and Carlo in our community, is the COO, and he's kind of the community lead there. Like he does the same thing. He's been able to create some amazing stuff. And so myself and Carlo and Scotty, spent a couple of days 2 weeks ago to teach our community what we know.
Okay.
Like, how do you do this? How do you do this? Like, how do you build stuff with apps and games? Like, how do you build apps and games with natural language? So we taught them. And like I said, 50 builders created 46 apps and games in 5 days. 46 that we had to review and look at and play and, and experience stuff like full tower defense games, bearish, right? Like we gave people a couple of, bearish, assets, just backgrounds and logos and stuff like that. People like made their own, whatever. People created full like bearish branded games, like bingo, like tower defense, like matching games, and a bunch of other stuff, clicker games, a couple of apps, etc. 46 of these. It's crazy.
That's insane. Yeah, right. No, yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Especially because people really wanted to do that. And I feel like because you're telling me, sorry for interrupting you, but when you let's explain them how to do it first. so they themselves, they can just, you know, do whatever they want to do. Like let them be creative. And I think
Right.
that it's just, I think the way that you're doing it is just the perfect example of how you can integrate your community to the stuff that you're doing. um, because you're giving them the tools to proliferate the brand some way, right? And they came up with these apps that you're telling me, and 50 of them showed up, and they created, and then maybe after that, people will see like, hey, maybe it's not that complicated. Like if this guy was able to do it, now I will give it a go. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of power with that. And I think I told you when we talked, one on one, I was like, man, let us, open up, I don't know, some APIs or something for us to let us
Mm.
jump in. And I don't know, when you have something, we'd love to, go in and I don't know, build something together. People
Yeah.
are the rock stars.
Endless possibilities, like honestly. There's so many stuff that we can do I can see this. I don't know if people can see that as well, but when we had that one-on-one combo, I saw that alignment that we have, right?
Mhm.
Because obviously, one, we're in the cute sort of meta, like I like to call it the cute
Right.
investment thesis, right? Like CIT. But also doing stuff that is relatively different, but aligned to the same ethos that we want to bring experiences with our cute IP that will attract the consumer, whether
Right.
that be doing A, B, or C, right? But then going back to the combo that we've been having, like how easy it is to collaborate on abstract and getting to know so many go-to people and so many smart people that it keeps impressing me, like how smart people are that are building on abstract, that they really
Mhm.
want to push forward this consumer crypto narrative. Like
Right.
we need one or two to actually make it, to break this niche of a niche of a niche where we are, because we're pretty much playing a musical game at the moment. Like it's the musical, like the chair game, right? Because it's the same people. Like we're just kind of like, we see the same people, but the moment we break that, and we people start literally talking about Bearish or Plooshies or Ancient Heroes, Final Bosu, Yui, Moonshipverse, you name it, right? Outside of our echo chamber, that's when we know, like, holy shit, we're onto something. And obviously, and the abstract team. So it is time for us to get to that point, and it will be pretty epic, because if it's either you or it's us or whatever, we're gonna be lifting each other, right? Because we're doing that at the moment. This is the perfect time for us to be doing it, like finding ways to collaborate other than just the typical transactional shit that, by the
Right.
way, I just hate, right? Like it's pretty common, like let's do this transactional collaboration and then just move on to the next one. I hate that. I see more of that, and that's why I love to have one-on-one combos like the one we had a few days ago. So yeah, going back to like endless possibilities, I feel like we're entering that stage where there's so much to do, right? There's a lot of work to do. You said it perfectly by saying, I don't think we've made it already, which I think it's the perfect mindset. We're in
Far
that
away from.
mindset as well. We're
Yeah.
very far away from that. uh, but I feel like the communities have seen the stuff that we've been doing, the hard work that we've been putting, sweat and tears, and they just it just, we want them to feel proud to represent our brand. um so yeah.
Love that. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, it's definitely. I hope you invite me back on this.
Yeah,
And
dude. Honestly,
look at how do I
we're
get this
gonna
wallpaper? How do I get this wallpaper on my phone right now?
Cole, let us know, because we want to get it. We want to share with the communities as well. Because, dude, that looks so good. I'm ready
So
to.
good.
Where is my phone?
I'll send it over.
Amazing.
Awesome, awesome, dude. That's so good, dude. Like, it looks
Can you
so
send
good. Like,
Can you send a mock-up with the like with the overlay and without the overlay?
Yeah, for
Love
sure.
it.
this is, oh, dude, this is literally one of the first, kind of like IP activations that we can see with two different IPs. that they just look so good together. Hey, like honestly, dude. Um, well done, sir. By the way.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
cooking.
Tolly, do you have anything else that you
Yeah,
would like to tell your
I don't.
community, our community? What what do you think we should be expecting coming from you, other than the app that you've been mentioning? Someone actually bearish glory hole for the lols, but
Yeah.
but yeah. I mean, or do you just want to keep it as it is? Like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep under promising, over delivering, and let people be happy with the shit that I'm doing.
Well, we have, yeah. I mean, a couple things. I mean, definitely number one. This Friday, we got a major announcement of a new sprint that we're starting. A sprint is,
Okay.
is one of these build-a-thons, hackathons, right? There's going to be a lot of money that will be given to builders. It's for a new upcoming meme coin. We're really, really excited for it. Friday, look out for the announcement there. That's number one. Number two, question for you is what's the what's the next step here between us? Like what are we doing next? Bearish
Oh,
explosion.
there's a lot of stuff that we can do. Like, obviously, because now we're in this internal testing. One of the things that I've noticed whilst doing it is that we need to retrain some of these AI driven NPCs, and because we shared in our cinematic trailer, I don't know if you've watched it, and in the in-game trailer as well,
Yep.
that there will be some IPs from Web3 that will be on Plushie Island. Now we're kind of like entering this new phase where we want to keep bringing more, because the way that we see Plushie Island is going to be this big community hub where if you don't own a plushie, it doesn't really matter. You can play the game. At first, we will see you as a guest, because if you own a plushie, you can play as your plushie, right? Like every single NFT is rigged, so you're gonna be able to play as your favorite plushie. You're gonna be able
Nice.
to level up as well. That's one of the things that you can do. So I could just give you a quick TLDR of Plushie Island. So there will be multiple ways for people to get plushie points, which is the off-chain token. One of them will be via completing daily quests. We have a character called Plooshy Sensei. So pretty much you go to Plooshy Sensei, he will give you daily quests, you complete them, and then you get Plooshy points. You can go to our arcade as well, play some mini games. You will be competing with each other, whether that be on a weekly or monthly basis, for you to be able to get X, Y, or Z prizes. And then the fact that we introduced first the houses NFTs on Abstract is because they will also play a pretty important role in our gaming mechanism, which is these houses, they have crystals underneath. So you will have the opportunity to mine these crystals. But let's say that you don't own a house. Let's say that you totally don't own a house, and you're like, hey, I want to keep, farming these plushy points, because ultimately I know that I can get more stuff in the marketplace, or I can just go to the bank building, which is technically speaking the bridge where you can swap plushy points to the upcoming token called Cuddle. So you will come to my house and be like, hey, Bogan, I want to mine your crystals. And I'll be like, yeah, cool, go for it. But you need to pay me with plushy points for you to be able to mine my crystals. So there will come a time that the market will decide how much should people pay for those, for the opportunity to mine crystals. Because if I go and be like, yeah, I'm gonna charge you 100 plushy points, and then my neighbor call would be like, yeah, fuck you, Bogan, I'm gonna charge totally 90 plushy points, right? So there will come a time that the market will decide, and then you will be mining these crystals, and then you can sell them in the marketplace. You get more pushy points. But the cool thing though is that if you own a plushie, you've been yielding daily plushie points because we have a soft staking platform, right? So we understand that some people, oh shit, I don't think I can hear you. Can you hear me? No, I don't think. Oh,
Yeah, I hear you, Bogan.
Tolly, can you hear us? Oh no, I think we lost Tolly for a bit. Um, let's
One,
see.
two. Here we go.
Oh yes, now
Are
you're
we
back.
back?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good. Oh, sorry. I
yes,
was saying,
sir. Oh,
yeah, I was just going to interrupt you real quick. You said if you own a plushie, you're getting something. Where can
yeah.
I? Where do I get a plushie?
Okay, The Plooshies, I mean, they're on ETH. We minted the Plooshies back in 2023, so they're on ETH at the moment. They will be on ETH. We still think that Ethereum is sort of like, we want to become one of the legacy NFTs on Ethereum. We're miles away from that, so we're working very hard to become one of the top 10 NFTs on ETH. But you can just go to your favorite marketplace, whether that be Blur, OpenSea, Magic Eden. You can buy a plushie, and you will be yielding daily plushie points, right? Because we understand that some people, maybe they don't want to play the game because they don't have time to play the game, but you're still getting plushie points on a daily basis. But the cool thing that if you actually choose to play the game, and if you're mining these crystals that are underneath houses, obviously if you own a house, you can mine your crystals. But if you don't, you have to you have to pay plushie points to people. Pretty much, they are renting the space. But going back to like, if you own a plushie, if you mine these crystals, there's a multiplier on our soft staking platform that hasn't been enabled yet. Meaning that if you mine these crystals, you will be leveling up your plushie. What it means though is that you will enable a multiplier on the soft staking platform, and you will be yielding more plushie points. So people will be able to level up your plushie that way, and then obviously after that we will come up with different quests coming up from different IPs. Let's say that we have a combo and be like, hey, Tolly, how do you envision the bearish on Plushy Island? Do you want it to be like the main character? Like if you have a main character of bearish, it can be that. Let's say, I don't know if it has a name, or maybe you haven't thought about that. But if not, it can be, let's say, you, Tolly, as the bearish, explaining to the community what bearish is, and then we can come up with quests related to that, like quests that maybe people who are holding later on a bearish NFT can have access to that specific quest, so they can get plushy points or some stuff that they can buy in the marketplace. There's a lot of stuff that we can do on Plushy Island. We just want to introduce like the first, not the first, because we had the first iteration of Plushy Island 1.0 2 years ago. This is a completely revamped experience. Um, but yeah, I mean, going back to like what's the next step for us, I feel like one of them is obviously the stuff that we can do on Plushy Island by integrating your IP. Um, you know, with the app, where we will be integrating that into our server, so the community can get to know each other, uh, and finding more ways to, like, honestly, we can do more live streams, we can do more spaces, we can pretty much team up and become, I see that, right? Like we can team up as being like, if people are going to see us as leaders of abstract, let's show them the way, right? I feel like we have a lot to share with the community, with perhaps upcoming projects. We can be that. We can brainstorm, obviously, behind the scenes, but I feel like there's heaps of stuff that we can do, other than just Pushy Island, because there's more stuff coming up down the line. Like for instance, this is one of the stuff that we can do, right? Like this is literally IP activation with the Plushies and Bearish.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We'll do something between now and Plushy X Bearish. Like game stuff between now and then. We'll have some fun with our communities and
What about,
yeah.
for instance, with the when you the builder sprint? Like, how do I bring my Plushies community? Do they need to own a Bearish to be part of it? How does that work?
Yeah. No. Everybody can participate. Everybody can participate.
Okay.
I got to look at what are the yes. Everybody can participate in the workshops that we do. Everybody can submit. I have to double check who can win prizes.
Okay.
You might have to be a holder to win prizes, but there's also I think we're thinking of a program where a holder could sponsor a builder, right? And if the
Oh, I
builder
see.
wins something, the holder gets 20% of it, right? So I don't know, we're figuring something out because we want everybody to be building stuff,
Yep.
hands down. So, but yeah. So Plooshies can participate and learn,
Sounds
right?
good.
That's
Yeah.
the big thing, is like they learn with us. They're gonna go back to Plooshies and start building stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Win-win. It's literally win-win for everyone.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I love to see that. Yeah.
People learn new skills. Maybe like some people make some money. Both communities win, and the world becomes a better place.
You couldn't have said it better, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to keep you here a little bit longer than expected. Same with our community and your community. Do you have any last words you want to say um, before we actually wrap it up?
I think that's it, man. Just just really appreciate you having me on. This was a blast. I feel like we
Nah,
talked
yeah,
about
thank you.
yeah, I feel like we talked about some cool stuff. Definitely, let me know if you ever have an open slot and you just want some company. I'll come in. We'll hang out. I'll probably have you on my stream at some point,
Sure.
and we'll cook.
Yeah, one of the things that we will do is, because at the moment we only have this stream with Cole, we want to bring more different streams, right? Because one of the things that I can actually talk about is that we're going to be doing a stream with the lead 3D artist, which will be a bit different. The concept will be a little bit different, but we will also come with different concepts with the other team members that we have, because they can actually talk about their skill sets, and we're gonna come up with multiple shit where we can also bring people in. And obviously we would love to host you again. I feel like this was a blast.
Yeah.
Totally. Dude, it's such a shame that we didn't get to spend that much time together back in Paris, but I'm pretty sure we'll meet again IRL one of these days.
Yeah. Yeah, we
So
definitely will.
yes, sir. But yeah, guys, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for being here with me, with Cole, and with Tolly. And obviously, we'll see you next week with another banger stream. Thanks again. You could have been somewhere else. You chose to be with us today. And for that, I will be forever grateful. And yeah, that's it, guys. Catch you on the next one. And thanks again, guys. See ya.
See ya.